Hello again and welcome to episode 9 of Main Street Martin. I hope you're well. A quick reminder before we start that if you enjoy this video or any of the others here, make sure you like them and subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss out on any future videos. Now you may or may not know, particularly if you're from the UK, Walt Disney World is vast. In fact, it's not a small world after all. Something like 30,000 acres in size, 77,000 cast members or employees, and it's visited by 58 million people or thereabouts each and every year. So it's really important, with all that in mind, that you are prepared before you go. To make the best of your holiday, you need to plan. So here are my top tips of things you need to know before you go. Tip number 1 is really simple and straightforward. Preparation and planning is everything. Given the size of Walt Disney World, given its popularity and the limitless things that you can do there, it's really important that you plan your holiday well. Otherwise you'll fly home at the end of your holiday and think, we missed out on so many things. This all starts with finding the best deal in the first place, whether that's a package holiday if you're travelling from the UK, or whether you think you can find a better deal by booking the individual components, flights, accommodation and so on, separately. If you decide on a package, then you have to decide whether or not you want to stay on or off property. If you stay in a Walt Disney World hotel, there are certain things that you get, bonuses and perks if you like, that you don't get if you stay off property. Now things have changed at the moment and it's always worth checking out on the Walt Disney World website because things never stayed the same. But if you were staying at a Walt Disney World property before lockdown, before COVID-19, you would have got certain extra perks. And I'm talking about being able to book your fast passes 60 days before you travel, as opposed to 30 days if you stay off property. I'm talking about extra magic hours, where people who stay in a Disney hotel can sometimes get access to parks earlier than everybody else, or even stay after the parks have closed later in the evening. So it's worth checking all that out. It really does depend on where you get the best deal. There is no hard and fast rule on this. We've managed to get flights via other European cities that are cheaper. We managed to book accommodation that is cheaper. You have to just find the best deal for you. And also, when you're planning and preparing, check the calendar of events because so many things happen at Walt Disney World on an annual calendar. Tip number 2 is to consider your dining options before you travel. If you have a Disney package and you've got tickets and a Disney hotel, you can then buy something called a Disney dining plan. Now there are 3 levels of that. There is a quick service dining plan, a regular dining plan and a deluxe dining plan. And what this basically does is it allows you to prepay for meals before you get there. This might be convenient for some people, it may not actually be a money saver for others. Now of course, like many things, the Disney dining plans are suspended during COVID-19, but when they return, check out the Walt Disney World website and see what the prices are and whether it works for you and your family. Different prices for adults and children of course, but as an example, before lockdown, if you'd had a regular dining plan, that would have given you a table service meal each day of your holiday, including a main course, a dessert and a drink. A quick service meal a day as well, including again a main course, a dessert and a drink. 2 snacks, maybe an ice cream, popcorn or something similar, and then the option of exchanging 2 table service meals for 1 meal at a signature restaurant or even a dinner show like the Hoop-de-Doo musical review. So the points are flexible. You don't have to have a table service meal, a quick service meal, snacks and so on every day. You can carry your points over and use them for other things later in the holiday. Worth bearing in mind. Now if you're staying off property, there's certainly plenty of choice for you, whether you're on the 192, whether you're staying in Lake Buena Vista or International Drive. There are plenty of choices. There are places to eat for every budget, for every taste. There is literally something for everybody. Tip number 3 is another straightforward thing to consider before you travel, and that is whether to drive or not to drive. Of course, you'll need to find your way from Orlando International Airport or Sanford, depending on where you fly into, to your accommodation. And you'll need to get from your accommodation to the parks each and every day of your holiday. And that really doesn't make any difference whether you're staying at a Disney resort or off property. Until recently, Walt Disney World operated the Disney Magical Express, which was a coach service taking guests from Orlando International Airport to their Walt Disney World resort. Now, the announcement was made recently that will be coming to an end shortly, although keep your eye on the news because there are rumours that a new rail service may be introduced between Orlando International Airport and Walt Disney World. Now, before you make that final decision on whether or not to have a car on your Walt Disney World holiday, then there are a couple of things you still need to consider. Firstly, if you are staying at a Walt Disney World resort, don't forget you have every conceivable mode of free transportation at your disposal. I'm talking about everything from boats to buses, monorails to the Skyliner. However, if you do go off property to anywhere else outside Walt Disney World, obviously you then will need to think about how you're going to get there. Finally, if you do have a car, then don't forget the extra costs that will incur. Even if you get a free car with your package holiday, you'll still have to pay insurance like the collision damage waiver and so on. You'll have to, of course, pay for fuel, which isn't expensive in the United States, but is nevertheless an extra cost. And finally, you'll have to pay parking. Now, all of the Walt Disney World resorts will charge you a daily parking fee. The only bonus is that you won't then have to pay the parking fee at the theme parks each day. And also outside Walt Disney World, many other hotels are now charging a daily parking fee. So consider that before making your final choice. Tip number 4 is the answer to another very straightforward question. What do I need to pack? Well, on one hand, apart from your tickets, your passport and other vital documents, you don't need to pack anything. You can buy anything you need in Florida, so if you forget something, don't panic. On the other hand, not taking anything with you is not either economical or practical, is it? So consider carefully what you're going to take with you before you go. Now, it's a very personal thing. There may be something that you would like to take or need to take that others won't. As an example, if you have small children, then one of the most practical and economical ways of getting them around the park, particularly when they're tired, is by taking your own stroller. So, apart from packing those things that are personal to you, something that everybody should consider first and foremost when packing your holiday case for Florida and Walt Disney World is your choice of clothing. If you've never been before, you'll have no idea just how hot and humid Florida can be. So, cool, comfortable and casual clothing is the order of the day. Restaurants have a very relaxed attitude to clothing. It's a very informal environment, so you don't need to dress up. However, you may need to take an extra cardigan or jacket or something to slip over your clothing when you go inside. There is a stark contrast between the hot and humid conditions outside and the Arctic-like restaurants with air conditioning inside. Bear that in mind. Secondly, shoes. Again, it's really important that you have comfortable shoes. In fact, it's more important what they feel like than what they look like. You'll be walking miles and miles in very hot conditions every day, so it's really important you have comfortable and supportive shoes. And finally, other things like sunglasses and sunscreen are really important. You'll have no idea of just how much exposure to the sun you will have. You may take a hat as well for that very reason. And hand sanitizer isn't a bad idea at the moment as well, although that is also readily available in all the parks and resorts. Tip number 5 is just a recommendation from me really to check out the My Disney Experience and the My Disney Experience app on your mobile. This is a system whereby you can link all of your party's bookings and reservations together. Everybody that's travelling with you, whether that be hotel reservations on property, theme park tickets, even booking your fast passes, making dining reservations, checking wait times on rides with maps of the park, maps of the transportation, everything you need to make your holiday go smoothly. It's also linked to your Magic Band and to Memory Maker, so any photographs that are taken on rides or by Disney cast members around the park will immediately be linked back to your My Disney Experience app, and you can view them on your mobile while you're travelling around the park. It's definitely worth checking out. Now, with the My Disney Experience app in mind, of course you'll be using your mobile phone and other gadgets the whole time while you're away. You may take iPads, iPhones, tablets, you may take cameras, camcorders, so don't forget your charging leads is the first tip I would give you here, to make sure that your batteries are recharged. Also, it's worth knowing that on Disney property you can buy something called a fuel rod. It's an extra battery pack, if you like, that you can actually plug mobiles or other gadgets into if they're running out of charge. You will pay a one-off fee for one of these fuel rods, and then you can exchange it as many times as you want. When it's run down, you pop it into a machine and a newly charged one will come out for you, absolutely free of charge. So look out for the fuel rods, but don't forget to charge your batteries. Tip number 7 is another personal recommendation. I mentioned very early on that Walt Disney World is vast, and I also told you about the extensive network of transportation that's available. So please explore as much of it as you possibly can. Don't just go to and from the theme parks, check out some of the other resorts, check out maybe some of the adventure golf. Definitely spend some time at Disney Springs. Every inch of it is worth exploring. As an example, you can actually go to Boardwalk, you may go and eat or just go for a drink there, or just go for a look around, and from there you can either get a boat or walk into both Hollywood Studios and Epcot, so explore as much as you possibly can. I said at the very beginning that planning and preparation is everything, and for tip number 8, I think you need an itinerary. And it sounds a bit regimented, but I'll tell you why. You can, of course, as I mentioned earlier, book your fast passes, make reservations 60 days before you travel using the My Disney Experience app. But then, of course, if you're going to make those reservations, you need to know what you're doing on each day. So that's one reason why an itinerary is important. Secondly, there are certain things that only happen on certain days. Those extra magic hours will be at a particular park on a particular day. It doesn't happen every day, so you'll need to know about that. And also, you may want to split your holiday up. A day at the pool with a day at the water parks and then a day at one of the major parks, so that you're not doing back-to-back parks each and every day. So have an itinerary, know what you're going to do, make those reservations, take advantage of the My Disney Experience app and have a smoother holiday. Along with that itinerary comes tip number 9, and that is to pace yourself. Break up the holiday. I mentioned a moment ago about alternating perhaps a theme park with a water park, or a theme park day with a day by the pool at the hotel. Of course, if you are staying on Walt Disney World property, you may be close to the park that you're at. You may want to go back, especially if you've got small children, for a nap in the afternoon, or spend the morning in the park and an afternoon by the pool. Now this applies particularly if you want to stay late for the fireworks. You may not want to go into the park so early the next morning. You may want to stay by the pool in the morning and go to the park in the afternoon. So break it up. Don't burn yourself out before the end of the holiday, and make sure you have enough time to do other things like going to Disney Springs, doing some shopping and so on. And finally, tip number 10 is just to stay up to date with all the regular news and information. Things do change, so check out the Walt Disney World website and the My Disney Experience app as often as you can. It could be that you're travelling out when your favourite ride is down for maintenance. There may be changes to the timings of the shows, the parades and the fireworks. Some of the transportation may not be running to its regular schedule. Don't leave it until you get to your holiday destination before you find out. Particularly during COVID-19, lots of things have changed. In terms of rules and regulations, things like social distancing and where to wear a mask. It may be that you still have to book a particular reservation to go into a theme park on a certain day, let alone fast passes and so on. The only way you'll find out is to keep up to date with all that's going on. And with that in mind, that's it from episode 9 of Main Street Martin. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you found it useful, please like it and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time on Main Street Martin for episode 10.